The world is celebrating with you today because they know, as I know, that here today sits those who dare to dream and who dare to be different. The ones who truly believe in those famous words uttered by Horace Mann that you'll hear later on. I was going to say it, but yeah, she wanted me to say it, but that's reserved for somebody else, so I'm not going to say the words. So yeah, I guess I am like those other speakers who tell newly minute grads that it is their task to save the world. Now my generation, you know what generation I'm from? Anybody know? I'm a boomer. A boomer. And my generation took a stab at it. You know, we were right on track for a while until we became consumed with ourselves and not consumed with the world. Now, we invented a lot of neat stuff, you know, the internet, DVDs, iPods, cell phones. We even made ourselves younger. We really did. Anybody know how old I am? I'm 56 years old, and when I was your age, and my granddaddy was 56, he looked like he was 150 years old. He walked around with a work shirt on and suspenders and some gray, you know, khakis on, white socks and black shoes. I thought that dude was terrible. But see, I got no white socks on. So, middle age back in those days was 35 years old. Now it's what, like 56, okay? So, we did some really cool things. But like a lot of generations, we got content and we forgot. And in some ways, we came just like the generation that we waged a fight with. So as usual, what? It's up to you. Not to save this country or to save this world, but just to give it hope. Because you see, that's all that we ever really had, is hope. Generations of people who came to this country, whether they were immigrants or whether they were slaves, hope, that word hope, was the thing that gave us the strength. I have a definition of hope, and it's actually a biblical definition, but this is non-sectarian, so just bear with me. But hope is one of the most uplifting emotions of which humans are capable. It is the desire for some good with the expectation of obtaining it, pleasing expectancy, the cherishing of an aim with the thought of attaining it. With hope, there is always a certain amount of joy and pleasure. Hope is one of man's most natural passions. It enables one to bear his burdens better and infuses strength when one is weak or worn. Hope. That's all we ever had. You know, when your mother and father, you know, looked at you in their crib, whether you're graduates or whether you're parents, they looked down and they hoped that you would live a better life than they did. That was paramount. Some of you were hoping a couple of weeks ago that you were going to graduate. All right? Some people are hoping that they're going to, you know, get a certain job. But hope is key, so remember that. I don't want you to save the world. You know, that's a big task. But we have to give the world hope again, because that's the driving force. Now, hope, in my opinion, is one of the most important words in the world. And as we journey toward a meaningful, purposeful life, along with love, I think love is serious stuff here. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. You, soon-to-be Antioch graduates, are just the ones to give the world hope again. And do you know why? Because you are incredible. Yeah, you really are. And I know we say that a lot. You have already committed your life to service. You care about the world. You are fighters. You already know how hard life is. And you still push on. And that's why you chose Antioch. Now, I remember visiting high schools when I was dean of admissions here. And guidance counselors would always ask me, well, what makes Antioch different? What makes us stand out from other schools? And, you know, all small schools got the same rap. We're small, or we got a small student-teacher ratio, and you get to everybody say the same thing, okay? And, you know, they kind of trip you up. And my response was always that Antioch students have the audacity to believe that they can make a difference. I mean, you guys actually have the nerve to think you can make a difference in the world. And they have, they do, and you will. I told hundreds of prospective Antioch students that this place is a very challenging and a very hard institution to attend. Everyone can't commit to making a difference. Everyone can't commit to inheriting, the world and giving it hope. And that is why we celebrate you today, because you have. Now, what you all remind me of something that President John F. Kennedy said in the early 1960s. And he was referring to the space race. We were in the middle of the Cold War. He was referring to the space race with the Soviet Union. And he declared in his speech that we were going to land a man on the moon by the end of the decade. Now, he didn't tell anybody at NASA about this. So they heard it when the rest of the country heard it. And what he said to the nation was that we choose to go to the moon and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And that was a commitment that we made, and we did. But because they are hard, we don't pick the easy things. We do them because they are hard. It also reminds me, has anybody seen the movie A League of Their Own? Yeah. That is my favorite movie, and I gotta tell you, I cry at the end, it's my movie. But, and this is the last cliche or analogy I'm gonna throw at you guys, but there's a point in the movie where Tom Hanks, who's the manager of this team, is losing his best player, the catcher, and her name is Dottie. And he says to her, why are you leaving? And she said, I gotta leave. It's too hard. It's too hard a game. And he said, I know it's hard. It's supposed to be hard, because if it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. And everybody can't do it. But you did it. You should be proud. Now, I'm almost finished. But let me tell you about love. One of the first things I noticed when I got to St. Lawrence was that everybody wore a St. Lawrence sweatshirt or t-shirt. I mean, everybody, all day long. I thought they were getting paid to do it. I mean, everybody had it, right? And the first thing my boss did was gave me $200 to go to the bookstore and get some St. Lawrence gear. So I got it, because it was free for me, so, I got it.